Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I have a nice layout for you today from our trip to Bruges, Belgium, or as they call it locally, Brugge. That's when you learn to do your Dutch and German G's with the h sound. Anyways, this is the everyday you and me paper pack, and this real estate square, I think is what they are called. I call it a bracket frame. It came with this paper pack. No, not with the paper pack, sorry, with the workshop. So I decided I wanted to use this, and I saw an inspirational layout online where they had kind of a shelf across the page, and then underneath the shelf, like a mantle, this was kind of hanging or sitting. So I knew I wanted it narrower than this, but I didn't know how narrow I wanted it. So I just cut it in half so I wouldn't cut it too small. And I thought, well, I'll cover it up to where I want to cover it up, and then I'll trim it down later. I created this layout at a retreat, and it's sped up a little bit, but most of the process is here. So I'm just going to let it play while I talk to you a little bit about what people were asking me about at the retreat. So people would walk by my spot, as you do, and they would ask me about 3x4 photos. They would say, I would have never thought that 3x4 photos would be large enough to really put on a layout that I always use 4x6s. And I really feel like we're stuck in a 4x6 box. And I think we're stuck in that 4x6 box because for my entire life in scrapbooking, so that's 25 years, 4x6 photos were the way photos were printed anywhere you got them printed. I realize that photos used to be printed in 4x4 and other formats, 3x5 back in the day, but in the last 20 to 30 years, they've been 4x6s for the most part. And so we're stuck in this box that a photo has to be a 4x6. So when you make a layout, essentially, I would say comfortably you can fit about 8 4x6 photos. Any more than that, and you're really squeezing them on a 2-page layout. And so I have the option when I'm traveling and I take all these pictures of these beautiful sites that I've seen, and I've even had to whittle down these pictures that are on this layout. I have the option of showing 8 photos and telling the story of this trip where you are looking in awe at the beautiful buildings in this city in Europe. Or I have the option of telling the story with 16 or double what I could fit on a normal page. So to me, a 3x4 photo shows you the same thing. If you think about it, it is the size of a picture on your phone screen. On my phone screen anyway, I have an iPhone. And I mean, of course, sometimes we zoom in, and you can't zoom in when you're looking at a layout, but we often look through pictures on our phone at a 3x4 size, and we don't complain or think it's too tiny. So I really think 3x4 is a very nice size. It's not too tiny, but it still really shows pictures, and you're able to get way more pictures on your layout and really tell the story. And you can see this layout starting to come together now. It's really telling the story of the city of Brugge and the sites that we saw, and my cousin and I spending time together, a cousin that I haven't gotten to spend very much time with in my life because she lives very far away from me. And that's the story that I wanted to share. And I feel that with 3x4 size photos, I can really share a lot of my stories well. And that's why I choose that size of photo a lot of the time. Not always. I will sometimes showcase a 4x6. That's one of my favorites. Sometimes I only have 1 or 2 photos, so I'll use larger photos. But certainly when I'm doing normal layouts where we've gone on a hike or we've traveled and I'm seeing beautiful things around me and I'm taking pictures with I've got 500 pictures on my phone. It's hard enough to whittle it down. I want to get as many of my favorites as I can on the layout. Flip flaps are great. I use them sometimes, but I just really like to be able to, in one glance, see the whole story and then look closer. So that is the story behind using a lot of 3x4 photos. I figured if people at the retreat were asking me, maybe some of my subscribers or some of my watchers are interested in knowing that as well. You may have noticed that on this layout, I have been changing out the background paper a lot of times. I just had a real struggle deciding what really showed off my pictures the best. I do settle on something soon here. But I wanted to show you that process that, it does sometimes take me a while to decide how I want to show the pictures and what the best color in the background is. And I don't always go with I often don't actually go with my first choice. I usually find a choice down the road that I think, oh no, I actually like this better. And I'm really liking this gray. I find that it's a wonderful color to show the brick and stone off in Europe. So I do go with some of that. I also really love Lost Lagoon. It is probably my favorite color from Stampin' Up. We used to have a color in the old days in Close to My Heart that was Twilight, and I think it's quite similar. I just think it's a really nice teal blue with a bit of a earthier tone to it. So a little bit more about these photos. My husband and I actually flew to Paris because we always fly WestJet. He gets perks with WestJet because he flies a lot. So WestJet only flies to Paris and London currently. I think maybe Barcelona, but we couldn't fly straight to Amsterdam. So we decided to fly to Paris, and I will be doing some layouts about Paris as well. And then we took a train and met my cousin and her husband in Brussels in the train station. And it's been really neat to spend more time with my cousin these last 2 trips that I've made to Europe. She's an only child, and my dad's family is like none of my dad's siblings had moved or immigrated to Canada. So I have family in the Netherlands and in South Africa, but no family from his side here in Canada. So it's been nice to spend time with her. So we booked an Airbnb in this medieval port city. It was at one time, and it experienced a golden age from about the 12th to the 15th century. And it still has a real middle-age medieval feel. This city was, as I said, it was a port city. It no longer has the same maritime access due to silting, but that's why it had such a golden age at that time. And it has a system of canals, very similar to what they have in cities in the Netherlands, where they could move merchants could move their products from the ships and the shipping yards to the buildings. And all the buildings have, they're backed onto a canal and they have access to that canal. Many of these cities in all of Europe, I believe, but I know the most about, I would say, Belgium and Holland. They have what they call grand markts, which is the Dutch word for market. I think the German word is probably the same. And it's just a huge town square where the market would be in the medieval times. And they're cobblestone. They're surrounded by absolutely beautiful old buildings with amazing architecture. And they just have a really cool feel to them. Now, of course, the buildings are all lit up, so it's just beautiful to look at them. I have another layout coming up for the city of Ghent, another medieval city, and that was just a little 8-minute train ride down the road, and we checked that city out as well. So I'm going to add some of this wood grain paper. I said before that this layout has this feeling to me of like a mantle with these scallops hanging, or these brackets hanging from underneath. And I'm going to use this wood to go across like a mantle for a landing place for my pictures to sit on. And then that way down below there, I can add my title and some embellishments as well. Obviously, there was a pre-planned layout to use that brackets frame, but I chose not to use it that way. So I'm just using small pieces that I've cut off. As you saw in the beginning, I cut it in half because I didn't know how much I was going to use. But I finally settled on this the way I have it now, and I do really like it, and I'm starting now the embellishment process. It's really always fun when you discover something by accident. So I borrowed a tag die from somebody, and I wanted to quickly cut out a bunch of different tags, and I wanted to have some white ones and some that were out of the patterned papers so that I could layer them up together. And I had a little piece of patterned paper kind of laying beside me that I had used on those ripped areas on the page down below. So I just grabbed that and I put it on some white background to keep it flat because it had a little bit of glue still on the back of it. I had taken it off a certain spot. And I put the tag on there and I rolled it through thinking I was going to use the white and that pattern tag separately. And it ended up cutting out the tag with a ripped edge to one side. And I thought, well, that looks very cool. So I ended up using it that way. And unfortunately, I wasn't filming when I did this. So you will see them in the end of the video. Once I discovered that, I made a few more that way because I thought they looked pretty cool. When I saw this paper pack, I really thought there must have been some influence from the former Close to My Heart paper packs because it really is, the sticker sheet is so reminiscent of Close to My Heart, and I just love these stickers for layering. So I end up using some of these flags to layer. I do end up turning them that way, just like that, yeah. And I layer several of them together and put a little word phrase there, and I just love how that looks. One of my goals when I'm creating embellishment clusters is to have them in spots that kind of lead your eye across the page. And another goal is to have a little bit of each color that I'm scrapbooking with in each cluster. And yes, you did just see me recut the dovetail that was on the sticker sheet. I find sometimes the dovetails on sticker sheets are too deep for me. I like a really shallow dovetail. Another thing I really love on the sticker sheets is when they have little words or little phrases that you can just pop onto the page. I have lots that I can stamp too, but these are just so nice and quick and easy. I love to add them here and there on the page. Well, no sticker portion should be unused. So this little end that I cut off of this flowered sticker, I'm going to add to the top of this circle so it looks like a kind of a hanging medallion. My goal on YouTube is always to inspire people, so I hope you have been inspired by the process of this layout being made. And if you have, I would really appreciate it if you'd hit that thumbs up button, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and come and see all the layouts that I create. I wanted to be able to fit this little rose in here, but it didn't work out for me. I end up using a little heart sticker instead. And I'm just about done the embellishment process here, and in a moment you'll see the finished layouts. I'm going to pick up the layouts here and give you a close-up of all the different bits and pieces. I have these little Riverside Pearls. That's how I finished off the tags, and I added them to the title there. The title is from some dies that I had in my stash, and I did pop those up on puffy tape. The tags on either side were the tags that I created with that accidental method, and that was adding a ripped edge to each of the tags, and I really love how that turned out. I want to thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you next time on YouTube. Bye.